Hi, Godly Seers, and happy Sunday. So today I'm talking about a question that I've been asked by some of my single friends, whether as a Christian single woman, you should accept or marry a man who is spiritually, who you're spiritually more advanced, or a man who's less spiritual than yourself. I think that's the right way of putting it. A person who you're probably more of a mature Christian, according to your opinion, and is probably more of even if he's just a baby or someone that just gave their life to Christ, or they've been a Christian for a long time, but spiritually you see yourself as being stronger than them. So I'm not gonna lie, for a lot of females, that is something that really bothers us, or is likely to bother someone, because we are taught that obviously the man is the head of the house. A lot of women aspire to marry this strong spiritual leader, because when we hear that, okay, that your husband is supposed to lead you where the things of God are concerned, or is supposed to know more than you because he's supposed to be more of the solution finder and things like that. So one thing I have to say is this, before we even go anywhere, before I can even give you any other tips or my own view of what I think about that particular topic or question, is that before you get to even get to the point of whether he's more spiritual than you or whether you're more spiritual than him, the biggest and first criteria for any Christian, personally, I believe, is to make sure that the person you're marrying is the perfect will of God for you. All this, is he more spiritual than you, less spiritual? In the end, it will not matter. Because if you're just using your physical eyes to choose this person, just going off the fact that, oh, he's very prayerful, is this, fast warrior, prayer warrior, you will still get it wrong. We've seen a lot of people, even pastors themselves, that someone went with them because of their spiritual status, and were very, very disappointed, because that normally does not necessarily equate to necessarily a good person in general, or someone that is fully delivered, or someone that is a perfect match for you. Just because someone is more prayerful than you or more spiritually inclined than you, it still does not mean that they're a perfect person for you. It does not even mean that, oh, then they're the right person for you just because they're more spiritual than you. So make sure that this person is the perfect will of God for you, not just a permissive will, that because we have these prayer topics or prayer points, or the things that we want in a husband, the things we want in a wife. Like, Lord, I want someone who's A, B, C, D, 1 to 10 things that I want in a partner. Make sure this person came to you from God, that is given to you from God. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you start. I've had situations where one of the pastors that ever pastored me in the past, based in the US, him and the wife used to say that when they met, the wife was singing in the choir, and he was almost like a new believer. He was just neither here nor there. She was way more advanced in the things of God. But let me tell you something. Men pick up a lot faster than, like, we may pick up a lot faster than them, but when they pick, they pick. When they are determined, when they are ready to serve the Lord, most of the time they are relentless. They don't look back. They can get there if they want to, way, 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 way faster than we can. Right? Today, he is the pastor, way more advanced than her, even though that's not where they started. Because when this man gave his life to Christ, he had a purpose. He was determined. He was focused on the things of God. And before she knew it, he was pastor over her. He's pastored many people. He's way, way, like, probably a million times better and more advanced today than she is. So again, going back to the point I made first, is the most important thing for you is not to find out whether this person is more spiritual than you or not. Make sure they are the perfect will of God for you, because when they are the perfect will of God for you, when you know this person, you got them from God, it will work. God knows how to make it work. God knows where things will connect. And also be mindful that when it comes to the things of God, we all have different strengths and weaknesses. He doesn't necessarily have to be more spiritually, stronger than you or whatever. He will have way more strength than you, or where you will have, there'll be areas in your lives or in your marriage where you're stronger, and is weaker, and vice versa. You both have, different strengths and weaknesses. I'll give you an example. Another thing that very quickly realized is that our relationships with God are very, very different. And that has made me, to a certain degree, learn actually not to judge certain situations. Now, I don't judge as much as probably I used to. I shouldn't be doing it. But it has helped me to know when I see different topics that are being, talked about. Like there's this big move that is going on about how people should dress, modesty, a lot of different things. Again, to me, when you see someone speak about certain things in their lives or going through a certain phase, it's most of the time to do with their relationship with God. And I've embraced the fact that my relationship with God may look very different from you. Whether that person is more spiritual than you or less spiritual than you, their relationship with God is very, very different. Our relationships with God are very personal, and that's for a reason. When I look at my husband, for example, like our relationships with God are very, very different. I see different strengths in him. Like, for example, going back to what I was saying before about the different relationships that we have with God. Can you believe sometimes you meet someone? Oh, I'll give myself as an example. There've been times in my life where my relationship with God was damaged. And there are a lot of people that are walking around with damaged relationships with God. It was damaged because of different things that I was going through in life, battles that came to stretch me, that came to, basically leave me for dead. Sometimes the enemy will whip you so hard, that you'll be left on the floor nearly for dead, that if it took the Lord himself to basically resurrect you from that place, because he came to finish you off. I was in a dark place for something that started as simple as okay, that turned out to go so wrong that I never realized the impact it could have on my spiritual life until I was almost spiritually in a coma. That's where the enemy left me, to the point that to lift myself up to pray was difficult. God knew what I was going through. He knew. But because during the time when I was on, my highest and my strongest, I believe that I prayed enough prayers to be able to hold me up, to speak for me at a time when I could no longer speak for myself. It was so bad, guys, that if you had met me in that time, you look at me and say, what kind of relation? You judge me. You judge me so badly, but you don't know. Maybe this person has fallen into spiritual thieves. Like the Good Samaritan that we talked about, that they just need someone to help them out of that situation. You will see that person, the decisions they're making at that time, the way they speak about God and say, what kind of a person is this? What kind of relationship is this? They're going through something, and that impacts their relationship with God. Some relationships are strong, some are weaker, some are, resentful, some are very difficult to understand. Some are quite complex, but regardless of where they are, that relationship is theirs with God. It's not for you to judge or to say, oh, I'm more spiritually stronger than you, whatever. But also, none of those situations are permanent. Like the pastor that I gave reference to, my previous pastor, and to myself as well. None of those situations are permanent. You don't see someone today where they are with God and think, maybe I'm holier than thou, whatever. It's not going to stay like that forever. Today you may be high. Tomorrow you may find yourself in the gutter. You might find yourself in a coma. God forbid. But what I'm saying is that person is still genuine with God. It can be a new relationship with God. Maybe they just gave their lives to Christ. Some relationships are stuck. This person has been a Christian for years. But when the Bible says that when you ought to now be a teacher, teaching others, you're still needing milk yourself, because for one reason or another, your growth got stranded, stuck, stagnant. You're not able, you lack the understanding to be able to move it on, to be able to, for someone else to, learn something from you. But again, that's not to say that you stay like that forever. We revolve and revolve and revolve until our last day. You see, we are continuously perfected in the Lord for as long as we're still alive. So don't see that person and judge them because of where you've met them. When it's relating to marriage, again, going back to what I was saying, is that just make sure the only thing you need to worry about is that person is from God for you. That is not, you're just not going for them because you think, oh yeah, they pray more than me, or they are the youth leader, or they are the pastor of my church, or this or that. No, that can be very, very deceptive. When I was still in my dating years, many, many years ago, there's a time I found myself in a situation where I went with someone because I think he was a youth leader. By that time, all the girls are looking up to this person, including myself. And when this person, kind of asked me out or blah, blah, when I sat with them, I realized like, oh my God, we all look perfect from a distance. When you get to know someone on a personal level, that's how you know how fraud they are. That's how you know that this presentation we all put on when we're in church, we are nowhere near perfect. That's when I realized that when the Mormon people or people that have a completely different doctrine from what I know will knock on the door, try to come and, convert us into Mormons. This person is so open. He's trying to hear them out. He's trying to reason with them. The next minute is like, oh, should we go to their church? Next week, me that is considering myself very way like a baby Christian as compared to this person, I was shocked. Even I was shaking this person saying, look, hello, like this is not it. Like, this is not where we should be. But I could see, maybe God wanted me to see that, listen, your physical eyes will take you the wrong way. They will take you the wrong because what you're seeing there's more to what you see. You see, if I was going to give an example of myself and my husband, I would see, when God chooses someone for you, let me say, you see God giving himself, a part of himself to you in form of a spouse. You see different aspects of the Lord Jesus himself in that person at different times or seasons that you're going through within that marriage. There is a time I was really ill. I was feeling really, really unwell. And I'm lying there in bed. My husband walked into the room. He probably doesn't even remember this. He sees me struggling in pain. My phone is there playing God knows what. Sometimes I will listen to these random YouTube videos from back home, this and the other. He just looked at it and I thought probably in his mind, like, what kind of nonsense is this? He just went and quickly tapped that off and went to something that he's downloaded me before, which is all to do with prayer, the atmosphere of worship. He quickly turned it to that because he wanted that to be what is playing for me in the background. He recognized things sometimes that I may be slow to pick up on. I know that the way our relationships are with God, like now it's not something that I don't take for granted. Because I'll see the different strengths that if it was up to me, probably I wouldn't lead us in that sense. For example, I'll see the integrity in him. His integrity, the way he has that integrity with me is the same way he has the same integrity with God. If you put the both of us together and it's something to do with, let's say, the tithe and offerings, probably I'm more likely to, God forbid, but I'm more likely to be corrupt in that area than him. There were times where we were paying that time. There's something that was going on where we're paying our tithe, but then we were worshiping in different churches because we were going to different churches at the time and we were not living together. And when he would ask me, when we would discuss the tithe that we give him that weekend and stuff, one day I told him that, oh, mine is a little bit short. And I feel really ashamed that, this happened. And I said to him, look, I think I'm going to give it as it is. He said, no, you cannot do that as a what? I wasn't expecting him to say. He said, no. How much is it short by? We cannot rob God. He had to remind me. He's like, tell me the amount that is short. I'd rather bridge that than you giving God what is not, up to what is not acceptable. He had to, make it up and say, no, if I'm like, let's say, for example, I'll say, or maybe let's skip this month, like funny things going on like that. He'll say, nope, we're not doing that. We're not robbing God. It's all going to him. You see, so anyway, that's just one of the examples that I can give. There are so many different examples that I can give. But what I'm going to say is that for me, in my case, I remember many, many years ago when I was praying over, someone to marry and stuff, that God, actually at a point I was trying to introduce someone to my pastor and God said, that person is not to be your husband. I do not accept him. He is not for you. And I felt heartbroken because to me, when I look at this person, it looked perfect. It was, for me. God was saying, no, I'll tell you the man that I'll bring in your life is a king. Those are the words that he used. The man I'll bring to you is a king and is one of my sons. And I remember the words the Lord said to me in that dream was that, Godly, one day your ministry is going to grow. This is what he said to me. One day, I was like, ministry? Like, what are you talking about? Like, ministry, me? He said, yeah, I've given you ministry. One day it's going to grow tremendously. But one of the things that is going to be holding it up is not going to be you. It will be your husband. This is what he said to me. It will be the man that I'll put in your life as your husband, the king that I'm talking about. It will be the person. It will be the engine behind the functioning of that ministry. He will be the one that is holding it up high. So, but when you meet someone at the get-go, you may not see that in them. You'll be like asking yourself, like, how? But God knows how to swing the direction of that ship to where he wants it to go. So please do not be discouraged. Don't be judgmental to that person that you think, oh no, he's not a pastor, he's not a prayer warrior, he's not a fast warrior, I can't learn anything from him. That is not the main point. The main point is easy from God. Did God tell you that's your husband? Did God tell you that's your wife? Do you have proof beyond reasonable doubt that this is the person that God has allotted for me? If the answer is yes, go ahead anyway, and know that you're still genuine. Genuine in the process of marriage. You still have so much to see, and at the end of it all, even if you never turn around to see, there's nothing to say that, oh, he should be more spiritual than you. Sometimes that's the way God has matched your relationship, and sometimes what you call less spiritual than you, it's not necessarily that it's like that, but there are sometimes ministries, let's say for example, that God has put you as the spokesperson of the ministry or the face of the person, the ministry, but in the back, again, your husband is the person, holding up the ministry. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes the dynamics may stay like that, but even that serves a purpose. Like I said, because we don't spend the rest of our lives just praying and fasting, whatever. No, there is everyday life, and that also has its own demands. You see, where you'll be kind of balancing the ship based on whatever you both bring to the table. So again, I hope you find some kind of encouragement or some kind of answer in this. If you can take away just one thing from this video, is that that person should be from God first. Should be from God. The rest, leave God to worry about it. Leave God to worry about it. Leave God to see how he will turn things around, or how he will run things to make sure that you both still fulfill his purpose, your purpose, his purpose on earth together as a married couple. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.